You're going to get to the higher energy centers, right? And you're going to start to experience things that you didn't even know that you could experience. So whatever your natural gifts and abilities are, it's going to allow you to tap into them. All right, what's good? It's Hunter back at it again with yet another video. All right, if you guys are new to this channel, we do cooking stuff, but we also make content that transcends the kitchen. So what we do is we really just break down high frequency topics, right? We toss around a lot of good information that's truly conducive to your guys' highest growth and evolution in this lifetime. All right, so if you're serious, tap in. All right. So you guys probably saw the title and you're like, Hunter, what are you talking about? It's crazy because, bro, I was one of those freaky ass little kids. I was like 7 years old when I found porn, bro. I was like 7 years old when I started to indulge in that, right? And it's crazy because, dude, I was in like third grade, right? Like before I even had sex with a female, right? Like before I even had like any of that, right? I was already like watching videos, right? I was already into that shit, right? Which is just crazy to think about. And what's even crazier is like there was girls in my class that also knew what corn was when we were 7. I was like, dang, like looking back, I'm like, dang. But yeah, it's a topic for another video, right? So yeah, when I was like 15 is really when I started my journey, and I'm 20 now. So I'm like 5 years in. And I just want to say, like, bro, there is always new levels to this. Like they just don't stop. There's no cap. All right, there's always new levels to climb. All right, there's always more building to do. And it's crazy because again, I'm only 5 years in. Like where is it going to be, when I'm 25, 30, right? And if you're into these type of topics, right, and you're operating out of a higher frequency, it's so important, right, to start to retain your sexual energy, right, and really just cultivate a higher level of self-respect in that way, because that's your life force, right? That's your seed, right? That's what brings life into this plane of existence, right? Into this realm. So think about it like this, right? You only have a certain amount of bandwidth, right? You only have a certain amount of energy that you can expend on a day-to-day basis, right? And that accumulates over a lifetime, right? So you only have so much energy in one lifetime that you can expend, right, and use to create what you want to create, right? So this is your creative energy, right? And if you just waste that energy on like beating your meat, right, going crazy on yourself, right, or just having sex with a female that's not conducive to a higher level of growth for yourself, then you're wasting your energy, right? Then you're not allocating it into the right areas of your life that you should be, right? It all depends on your intentions, right? If your goal, right, is just to have fun, right, and to experience that for a season of your life, right, whatever the case may be, that's fine, right? But it's important to be aware of it. In 2026 and beyond, your greatest currency is your energy, right? Your state of being matters more than anything else. All right. So again, a big catalyst in my journey, right, was retaining my sexual energy, right? And I can make videos on going into, how I quit the corn, right? The websites, everything like that. How I stopped, giving into low vibrational women. But in this video, I'm really just gonna break down the spiritual effects, right? The so-called spiritual effects. Because understand, right, that, right when you start respecting yourself more and you stop wasting your sexual energy, you do it for superficial reasons, right? That's the case for most people, right? You want to go get some more female attention, right? You're trying to go talk to the shorties, right, and feel confident, right? Which is fine, right? I did that too. And then, right, then you start to realize like, yeah, this is my creative energy, right? So then you start to channel it into like projects, right? You realize that you have more energy in the gym, right? You realize that like your skin is getting healthy, right? Your nails are getting healthy, your hair is getting healthy, your physical body is starting to get in a better state of health and vitality, right? But then after a certain point, it becomes very spiritual, right? It becomes a practice where you're training and you're strengthening your inner power, right? And you're tapping into your abilities, okay? Because you can look at building up your sexual energy, right? That's like an amplifier, right? Semen retention is going to allow you to charge up, right? Your subtle bodies, right? And it's going to allow you to pretty much just have a stronger aura field, and you're able to experience the full range of your abilities that go beyond just your physical manifestation in this plane, right? Because you exist on other planes, right? You're multidimensional, right? You're a multidimensional being, right? The physical is just one plane that we exist in, right? So once you start to conserve your sexual energy, right, and once you start to learn how to cultivate it, right, and like move it up, you're gonna get to the higher energy centers, right? And you're gonna start to experience things that you didn't even know that you could experience. Okay? And this is different for each person, right? Like, I'm not gonna get into all of my personal experiences in this video, but I'm really just here to say, like, again, it's an amplifier. So whatever your natural gifts and abilities are, it's going to allow you to tap into them, right? And just that thought process alone is like, yeah, like I'm going to stop disrespecting myself, right? Like I'm really just going to lock in and conserve my sexual energy, because wouldn't you want to experience everything that there is to experience in this lifetime? Right? Don't you want to see what you're fully made of, right? Like for me, that's how it was. So when I was 18, right, I had a full-blown spiritual awakening. And for me, from like age 15, right, once I started to respect myself, it kind of ramped up slowly. And then at 18 is when it fully like manifested itself to a high extent, right? It's like all my energy centers blew open. And it was a crazy experience, right? And one of the biggest catalysts for that was having my life force energy, right? If I didn't retain my energy, right, and I just spent it on like just having sex, right, and just releasing, then I wouldn't have been able to move it up, right, and experience my higher energy centers and really tap into myself, right? And it's just so important if you're at a young age to get into the habit of respecting yourself sexually, because that's going to play a large role in how you live out this lifetime, right? And what you choose to do, right? You're really going to tap into higher lifelines and higher versions and experiences of yourself that you couldn't otherwise tap into if you were just wasting it. Okay? So that's the biggest thing that I want you guys to understand is like, it's an amplifier, right? And it charges you up, okay? Your sexual energy, right? So it's just so important to start to respect yourself, right? And start to cultivate that level of self-love for yourself, so then you can experience the full range of abilities, right? You don't even know what you can do. You know what I mean? You don't even know your gifts and everything that you can give to the world if you don't respect yourself fully, right? So yeah. Food for thought. All right. Again, Reaper the Young Elder, we get shit done. All right. Yeah.